In celebration of Lost Nightclubs, let's have our own gig.
Lost Nightclubs, the gig. The first ever, starting right here in Auckland City. Featuring DJs and artists from the show and also special guest DJs. We're kicking it off at the Mothership, March 15th, a night to remember.
DJs include, from our very first episode,
Grant Marshall, Sam Hill, Greg Churchill, and 48 Sonic.
And what are they playing, you ask? Well, they're playing old school music. They're playing electronic music from the 90s, from the 80s. We're talking house, drum and bass, techno, breakbeat. We're going back in time. It's all happening right here at the Mothership, March 15th. Get your tickets now. Come join us and reminisce with us. It's going to be amazing.
Limited early bird tickets on sale now.
So right now we've walked to where we were going to first go, which is this club originally called Celeb / The Box.
Well, originally called The Siren.
The Siren.
And Club Mirage was like under those guys as before it became well known as The Box and Celeb, two venues down the same stairwell, one to the left, one to the right.
Where's the door gone?
So it was.
It's just been knocked down. Let's have a look at it.
Yeah, it was here. I think I knew that. I think when they, I think there was a bit of hoo-ha. Yeah.
This is where the club was.
Yeah.
We'll walk in because this looks like a car park, so it will be.
There's some stairs. There you go. Look at that.
There's the steps. Oh my god. So, what year did you start DJing here?
Hello stairs. I would say I started doing the Wednesday night retro here, 1998.
Yep.
Maybe 98. Took over from Wanda Lamore. Wanda Lamore had done a great job of creating this really cool retro night, and I got a shot at doing it, and never looked back. It was great fun, unbelievable nights.
So retro night was a huge thing for me my entire 20s. Every year, every Wednesday.
Every year.
I was here, and basically, we would hang out. There was a line that went down the street, all the way down to, what's the name of that road? Vulcan Lane.
Yeah.
And it would start here, and there was a really cool bouncer called George.
I remember George,
Yeah, he was kind of, everyone knew him in Auckland. He's a really lovely guy. And, we would sit out here and smoke cigarettes, and Vince would park his truck up here. And it was just a really cool social scene. And
if that was maybe the door into Celeb, that could well have been the door into Celeb. Yeah, that'll make sense because there's some more stairs that you'd step down onto the box dance floor. And where we are now was a thing called the Ice Box for a little while. There's a thing called the Ice Box, which was another room to itself, which was a bit of a chill zone. Pinball machine about there usually, bar here. But no, the Box was an incredible nightclub, not just for the Wednesday thing. Like it had low ceiling, it was a real sound bunker. And the quality of sound in that was second to none. It really hasn't been equaled.
No, it was an amazing experience, just because we also had lots of international DJs, but it was a small club. I mean, it wasn't huge, but yet you'd get kind of acts from overseas wanting to just have a little party, and there was a few that came through here.
It was so much in its infancy, though. Clubbing was really in its infancy, and Simon Grigg, who owned the club and was responsible for many things, including the Box and Celeb being so successful. People would come to town, like Ice-T would come to town and play, do a concert. He'd come down and hang out here afterwards. Mick Hucknall came with Simply Red. He came and DJ'd here. U2 did their show, came down here and brought Paul Oakenfold with them, their DJ. He did a live set here. Like the list goes on. I'm missing a few, I'm sure, but the list goes on.
Chemical Brothers? I think they did something here.
Yeah. It was notorious for if someone cool was in town, they would come in here after they'd done their show.
Right.
So it was just that spot.
And it ran for years.
Out of that door, most nights was coming jazz. People like Nathan Haynes and various other jazz aficionados were playing, as in DJing or playing as in live, jazz from behind that door. And from this door was coming usually house music. And at the top of that stairwell was a young man called Sawani. And he heard this combination of house beats and jazz and put his own South Pacific flavor on it, and the rest is history. So
Sawani was an amazing DJ. Unfortunately, he's passed away.
He did pass away.
Rest in peace. And there was another DJ, Manuel Bunde. Sort of had that similar style as well, a little bit.
Just a little bit more. He was a bit more soul, soul based. I mean, Manuel definitely did.
Those two. Yeah. If I ever saw their name on a flyer, I was there.
Yeah, Manuel was a lot down at the Bretts. Yeah, he often play lots down at the Bretts on their sidebar and stuff. But yeah, amazing DJs. Also through here, you had young guys like Rob Salmon, who went on to live in New York and record on Yoshitoshi Records. John Davis was a great DJ, played down here a lot.
John Davis, He's still around, so he's
he is
in
still
Auckland.
around. He'll see this and be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, he'll be correct and he'll be in the comments.
But yeah, some great DJs played in this space, and now it's a car park.
Yeah, so Grant was like, he would be able to DJ over in Corslep, another little club on the side here, and then run over to the main room. Yeah, and just keep it mixed up, so you see him in both places. But just the most infectious, amazing mix of retro music. We're talking about 80s and dabbling into the 70s, and then also into the 90s. It was freedom, we would all go out here and we were dancing around and met heaps of people, and it was fun people. It wasn't like, it wasn't the cool crowd. It was just everybody having a good time.
It was the great unwashed listening to a whole bunch of feel-good stuff.
Yeah.
And look, my set went from I think it was 10 o'clock start until 5 a.m. So it's a 7-hour set.
It's a 7-hour set, just casually every Wednesday.
Playing 45s and 12 inches and album cuts, and by the end of it, I was exhausted. But it was a great learning curve for me about how to try and put tracks together, how you could put tracks together, how you can move from place to place and jump from one pad to the next, and what you do in between. Like, if you're going to get from this song to that song, well, let's drop in this song in the middle, and there's a nice little way to get there. Yeah. So it was real good for me, cutting my teeth, learning methods that I still use today, even though we're a digital age. But yeah, it was cool.
This is one of the most important venues, possibly even globally, but definitely in Christchurch. I rate it in the top 4 venues ever. This is where Ministry was, and Ministry, according to Chemistry and Storm, two of the great metalheads DJs, drum and bass DJs, they rate it in the top 3 clubs of the world, and it was maybe about 97, 98.
Wow.
And so
was it in this area here?
It was kind of right here. There was like there was a driveway alleyway up here and across here, maybe to Do Not Enter. It was huge. It was massive. Wow. It held 1,000 people. It opened in November 1992. I was lucky enough to be one of the original residents. I played there on a Thursday night and a Saturday night. I'd play 6 to 8 hour sets each night I played. When they had the opening night, so Bruce Williamson and Wayne Clark, I think Wayne's name is. Yep. Wayne owns Family Bar in Auckland these days. So they opened it, and it was modelled, I think, on the Tunnel nightclub in Glasgow.
Into the Tunnel in New York.
Yeah, and on opening night they had one of the Tunnel residents, a guy called Mal Barr, if my memory is still serving me.
Yes.
And he played what I regard as my top 2 greatest sets I've ever heard played.
Wow.
Like walking into that, what they did on the opening night, it was a Thursday night, they shut the whole block off. And there were just hundreds, there was 1,000 people wanting to get in.
Wow.
And they had searchlights, everything going. And you walked in like this, up this big sort of ramp, and it's very much like you see photos of the entry to Paradise Garage in New York. It was like, it was quite long, but you'd walk in and the place was just vibrating, and it was very industrial, it was very metallic. There were so many different areas you could hang in and get different perspectives. The DJ booth was like lined out sort of landscape sort of wise, along this way, but you could get up behind, and it was at a decent level where you could have easy access to the DJ, and the DJ could clearly see the people in front, lighting tech next to you, but you could walk up behind the DJ and get the same perspective. You could just be pretty much just head height above them.
Wow.
Amazing venue, but again, something that it was too big for me to play in. Like,
what do you mean?
Because the music that I wanted to play, it needed a bit more of a commercial consideration, and the other resident, Rick, he was primed a lot better for me, as were other DJs that followed. So I think I only lasted there maybe 4 months. I had a couple of amazing nights. I remember Christmas Eve 1992, just absolutely incredible. The place was absolutely rammed. We've got 1,000 people in there.
Wow.
And I'm playing like early left field. I remember playing D Patton, who's the badman, and when that bass line dropped, the place just exploded. But I sort of found, like, after I came out of the the summer lull and moved in, that it just wasn't working for me, and I ended up going back to the Worcester bar.
Where did it get its name from? Like, is it got anything to do with Ministry of Sound?
Obviously it does, yeah.
Okay, was Ministry of Sound, when did that club start in the UK, right?
That had started in 89, because I was in the UK in 89, and
Okay.
I think,
And then
I
this started-
remember hearing about it, but I never went.
Yeah, and this was after that, obviously?
Yeah,
or
that's a
the-
few years after.
Okay. So let's just call our club Ministry, and it sounds like we're part of the same
Yeah,
thing,
I
maybe?
suppose it's like it's a name that's memorable. The name Ministry of Sound was on people's radar who were who were into dance music. They were actually doing amazing. Those initial compilations Ministry of Sound did, like with Tony Humphries and
they were
Louis Vega, were phenomenal.
Really good. It came to a point where, if you bought something that had Ministry of Sound on it, the chances are it's going to be good.
Yeah.
That's how much, the reputation they set up.
Amazing club, but I don't know really what happened between 93, 94, 95, but by about 95, just before I left, I remember the likes of Matt O'Brien, Obi-Wan, James Meharry, Crichton, Rory, all that crew. They were starting to put on gigs back in Ministry, and then by the time I left, and then drum and bass, so you had the early rumblings of jungle happening, and they'd bring in their own sound systems into here as well.
Oh, okay.
They like the 20,000 watts of sound in there,
Jesus Christ.
like massive amounts of sound, and
Drum and bass loved big sound systems.
and
though.
so by the end of '96, you got drum and bass absolutely starting to explode in New Zealand. And here in Christchurch, almost as like the global epicenter of it. And Ministry suddenly becomes the place that Ed Rush goes to, and it's not really my scene. I'm only going on vague memories. I just remember being in Auckland going, Ministry's going off, and that's where everyone's going. DJ Pressure, Jeff Wright, I was working with him at BPM Records, and so they were involved with bringing the DJs in, and then they'd bring them down to here to play, and they just couldn't wait to get to Ministry to play.
I wonder, the building was an old historic building like this, obviously? Or?
Yeah. Very, very much. Council had reclaimed it.
Oh, okay.
For part of this, I think. Real shame. We'll never see anything like it. I remember this car park over here, and I dragged 3 or 4 crates of records out of my car over to here, and then I'd roll out of here at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Sunday morning it would be. Having played from like 10 p.m. generally. That was huge sets. There was a side entrance up here because Bruce, the owner, used to park his Audi up here, and then there was the club would have gone from here to where that bus is coming out. It was huge. There were 3 rooms.
Okay, so that road was part of it. Yeah, I see. I understand.
It's easy for them, but we, for years, only did parties on the north side of Chicago, for years.
Terry, where the hell on earth are we?
Yo, we in the underground. We in the underground streets of Chicago.
Wow, look at the size of this road. Like, is a road up there or train?
Yeah, main road up here. I believe this is Michigan Avenue. Okay. Above us is Michigan Avenue, but we're at the infamous location in Chicago, 326 Lower Wacker Drive, the home of the Music Box with one of my idols, Ron Hardy. Right here.
Wow.
Right here.
This must have been like pre the nightclub, like a loading bay for something, maybe like a factory or...
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It's funny, Robert Williams is still with us. I don't know what it was before, but how he found this spot, I have no idea. But man, when I say cars used to pull up just playing old Ron Hardy tapes around here, over here, these gates was not here then, and it was the doorway here, and it was another doorway right there. And when you came, when you drove up, all you heard was poof, 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 poof. And you could hear the crowd, depending on if it was a summer or the winter, just reacting, man. And the Music Box, this was a historical place. I remember coming here as a teenager, being in high school. Ron Hardy used to do these marathons. Okay. And it will start on Thursday and will go all the way till Sunday, non-stop. Music Box marathons. Like Thursday night, it will go all the way till Sunday, non-stop.
And how many DJs would cover it? Like,
are you kidding me? Only one DJ. Ron Hardy, baby. So Ron used to live here.
Oh my God.
So he used to stay below of the club, even though we're lower Wacker Drive.
Yeah.
Ron lived here. So bathroom breaks, toilet breaks, whatever,
Yeah.
he would play
It's got to be a
for
world
3
record.
days straight.
Jesus, it's got to be.
Sometimes he would, get some rest and we'll put on a couple of hours of a reel to reel. But no, the music box.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, you put on a pre-mix for a little bit. Yeah.
For the marathon,
Get a
it
nap.
used to be crazy.
Wow.
Bro, we used to leave high school Friday afternoon and come down. And I would remember coming out here at 6 in the afternoon and staying till 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
Go home, go to sleep, and be right back here from Saturday
Yeah.
to Sunday in the morning. Like,
And this must have been all taxis and cars and stuff.
cars, but like at that time, it was only cars that people that were coming here.
Yeah.
Or just maybe passing through. But
Yeah.
if during the marathons during the day, you would have regular business cars coming through. But listen, if you knew, you knew. That's the only cars and people that was down here was coming to 326.
And you recognize it mainly because of the steps,
Oh no,
right?
yeah.
The steps
Well,
are
it wasn't even the
significant.
steps. All of this has changed.
Yeah.
Like that brick wall, all of that is new. It was kind of like a wooden door there that you would go through. You would go in, you would pay, then you'll go into the party, which is kind of like the lounge area, and they had the bar there, and then you'll make a right, go through a little hallway, and then you would enter the club, which would be kind of over that way. I
Would you
think
ever,
that
like-
might have been the door. You see, if you can see where that brick wall is, where that parking sign is.
Let's go have a look.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, that was kind of like the back door. You could tell it was covered up. Something was covered up, and I believe that was the back door. When you went in right there, that part was the club.
Shout out in the comments about this entrance. And you would have had a fake birth certificate or something, right?
No, so that was the thing. You had to be 18, so we had fake IDs consistently to get in a lot of these venues.
Yeah.
And I got to know a lot of the staff at the Music Box. I met the owner, Robert Williams, when I was he remembered me when I was a teenager trying to come up.
Wow.
And so just big props to Robert Williams. Robert Williams is also the owner and the founder of the Warehouse.
Oh,
So
same
the Warehouse
guy.
was
Yeah,
first,
right.
same guy. Years later, he opened up
Wow.
the Music Box.
Literally defining the word underground.
Listen,
to
I'm not
music.
for sure, and I think the people should comment on it, but from my history and my knowing, I believe the term underground music comes from here. Comes from here.
It's amazing.
I've never heard of underground music or anything until Chicago here, and it literally everything here was underground. So, like, I just wish people, if we can go back, go on YouTube, find some old Ron Hardy live mixes from the Music Box. Like, it's nothing like it in the world.
Wow.
I can remember this as a teenager being down here, man. Again, you have those life-changing moments. Belmont, hearing Frankie for the first time, and then once I got into it, coming down, knowing about Ron and hearing Ron was a whole another level, another experience that it was just crazy. And again, all walks of life, man. You had street guys, you had thugs, you had preppy guys and preppy girls, you had a few Latin cats, couple white cats. Nobody cared. It was the music. And it was just funny. It'd be certain times we'll be so hot and tired, people to come outside, and it's just funny. Ron will play a certain record, and it'll be 20 of us outside, and we hear that record come in, and you just see everybody dart, running on the inside to go hear that record that he's playing.
Wow.
The energy was like nothing I've ever experienced to this day. There's nothing, no club, no country, no city comes close. Like, it doesn't, and I've done some amazing events in my career, like amazing. Nothing comes close to 326. Nothing.
How was he so prolific in finding the music and then manipulating it in the mix as well? Like,
Man, so it was just Ron's style. It was just very energetic. He played a lot of the records faster.
Yeah.
So you'll have a record that's really kind of maybe mid-tempo, but Ron to pitch that thing up.
What kind of drugs was he on? No,
Listen, it's rumored, you know what I mean? But at the thing of it is that
Can't
if
say.
that's what he was doing, that's what made it work. You know what I mean? DJ Pierre brought acid tracks to Ron Hardy. Ron Hardy broke that record here. Marshall Jefferson's records. Ron broke that records, all of those records here. Virgo tracks. Chip E, It's House.
Yeah.
It's House was probably one of the biggest underground tracks ever. And Ron would do something really creative. We didn't know then. The record would be playing and it would be saying, it's House, it's House. And then all of a sudden, he will edit it and will play the record backwards. And so it'll be, watch it, it's House, watch it. And the whole record goes backwards. And people lost their fucking mind. Like Derek May, I mean, I remember him telling me a story. The whole Rhythm is Rhythm, new photo stuff, Strings of Life, all that was broke right here.
Oh, wow.
Every historical record from that time, besides Frankie, Ron Hardy made it happen. Ron would listen to the records and put that shit.
Do you
right
think
on.
the fact that he sped up the records a bit, did that maybe inspire some of the techno producers?
Oh, absolutely. Again, Derek May used to come from Detroit to Chicago to hear what was going on, and that helped influence their sound and what they were doing. You know what I mean? Big shout to Detroit, because techno, the techno that's being called techno now was not the techno that Detroit. That sound was totally different. And so Detroit is a mega hub, you know what I mean? And a lot of us went to Detroit. You know what I mean? So a lot of those boys came down here and we went up there, but like as far as the Strings of Life and all of that, it's broke right here. Marshall Jefferson, Move Your Body, the biggest house record in the world, broke right here.
Wow.
If it was not for this location, you wouldn't have none of these records. You know what I mean?
Paving the way.
Here, Lord
That's
Wacker.
awesome.
So this club here, back in the 80s, used to be called Bali High.
Right.
I never used to come in here, guys, back in those days, but that's what it was called, and then it changed to Apia Way. And everyone from the hood been to Apia Way.
I've heard about this club. Now, this was like the island club, right?
This was the go-to, and not only just that, it was like all the young ones. They used to have Thursday night, and that's where all the young ones used to come. And then Friday would be the island night, so that's where they had the band, and your aunties were here, uncles were here, your mum and dads were here on a Friday. Saturday would be like a function, but Thursday was the night. But then, it always ended really bad, always.
Like fights?
Oh yeah, murders, everything.
Murders?
Yeah, we witnessed 2 people that died here.
Oh my God. And how,
couple
what,
of people.
via fighting?
Well,
or,
back in the
or
day,
knives?
they didn't really have guns around, so everything was all like stabbings, killings, fights.
Amongst the chaos, a good time though?
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, the drinks were really super cheap, and for us it was always about the $1 drink, $2 drinks.
Let's walk inside, because obviously it's a new venue. We'll just see if this brings us back any memories.
Oh man, it really does. So these stairs, there's been fights down here, people have been pushed down. I mean, that's just all the bad stuff, but the good thing was the door was really cheap as well. It was like $5 entry.
Right.
Yeah, I had a couple gigs here.
Yeah.
So this was the main. So when you come in, it was majorly packed. So packed. And this was where they would have the band, the DJ up there. Yeah. And the toilets. I've had a couple of fights in the toilets.
What about the pokies? Were
They were there.
here?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can't remember. Really wasn't really interested in the pokies back then.
No.
It was more of like just come for a good night, get the free drinks, and they would open this area as well. So this was all open. It was all open space, but the suck thing was the toilets were so tiny, and it was so bad in there. We would have so many fights in the toilet. Wonder if it's still tiny.
This looks original.
Yeah, still looks the same. This is where all the fights happen, guys.
True.
Yeah.
What, female fights?
Oh yeah, hard. Drag queens, all of that. Really bad.
Did you ever get in a fight in here?
Oh man, that's what I'm saying. This is where most of my fights were. It was in here. It was like mostly drunk girls, like just. It would move from there, and then the fights will come out here, and then eventually we're back on the dance floor like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Because it was so packed. It was like so packed.
It's a big venue.
And me and my girls will always go and park our drinks somewhere over there on the table, because that's where all the cool guys were.
And the DJ, where were the...
So they would have like a stage. They had the stage up here. It was like mostly live bands they would have here.
Yeah.
And this is where I'll be dancing, right here. And it was always over someone that bumped you. The fights always
Right.
started.
I got into a fight on a dance floor like that.
Yeah, it was always like that.
It's a shame.
You know what's crazy? My auntie used to drag me up here, one of my aunties, and then her husband, which is my uncle, Uncle James, he would be here too. Somehow we see him, and then at the end of the night, the lights come on, and there's always this one guy that's bashing somebody up. No shirt, loud, and it was my uncle. It was like, back then it was so cool. Like I remember the era being so fun, cool. It was just an exciting part of my life. Like I pretty much worked just so I can go out clubbing. But even the bouncer, we knew this one bouncer who was like here and then at Club Raro, so we were friends with him.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was all about knowing who the bouncer were.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name, but we know him. Like you just know his face.
Putting a good light on this venue, because a lot of people mentioned it when I did some research. You guys tell us some good stories about some good nights you've had up here.
Sadly, it's just got this...
Because whatever happens outside, I mean, it's hard for the club to really control that.
Yeah,
You know?
I felt sorry for the bouncers, man. A lot of them got put up, like they had, I think a few of them had been beaten up, got involved in some stabbings, and a lot of the fights ended up over here, this area.
Right.
So
I mean, it's a great location for a club though, because you've got an outdoor area to just mingle and stuff.
I remember one night came here with David Tor's sister. She was one of my really good friends from back in primary. We went to Southern Cross Primary School together, and she was getting ready for a fight, and she's like so butch, and everyone's scared of her.
A professional fight.
Professional
Yeah,
fight,
yeah.
And she dragged me up here one night. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. We get up there, and all these guys up there were like, they all knew her. They're like, oh my gosh, that's David Tor's sister. And next minute, she's got all this money from these guys, these fobs that just gave her money and stuff. They were just like bowing down to her.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Yeah, that was what the people were like. They really looked up to David Tor. People like
Well, he's
that.
a hero though.
Well, yeah. Because I was just like, yeah, I'm with her. But the vibe was so much better. Like, if you talk about A-Way, people would be like, oh my God, that was the club.
Yeah, right.
That was the place to
Well,
go.
if it gets a nickname on top
A-Way.
of it, then it must be good.
All right, so we're in this humble little street here.
Yeah, this is Marion Street, and this is actually still quite an emotional journey for me.
Yeah.
Personally, because I'll let Tim have his own angle in a sec, but basically, this is where everything started happening for me. And I've been inside that building since 1994. I've only been inside this building twice. And the reason for that is I really invested a lot of myself in this building, because what happened was I was in bands before Utah Saints, and we were running, this is about 87, 88, and we were, to subsidize bands, we were promoting clubs. So we started a night, me and my 5 housemates, because we were in a shared house, started a night called the Mile High Club, which was just playing disco music. Lucy, a friend of ours, used to design all the flyers and DJ there. And Keith, who ended up being drummer for Utah Saints for a bit, he used to play like a lot of disco stuff as well. Anyway, the 6 of us started, and this used to be a restaurant with a function room above it. And the function room was held about maybe 100 people, and it had a tiny little club in the bottom called Ricky's. We rented the function room above this restaurant, and we started off doing it every Friday night. And we get like 100 people, 150, and then it got more popular. And Saturday night, George from an act called Nightmares on Wax, who are like big band, they used to do the Saturday night. So they did the Saturday night, we did the Friday night. Both our nights started getting busier and busier and busier, and we took over so about 88, 89, we started taking over the basement as well. So then we had about 250 people coming in, and we had 2 rooms then, one doing more hip-hop stuff and electronic music, which wasn't rave at that point, but it was starting to become a thing from Europe, a lot of industrial electronic music, and disco, funk and disco still upstairs. And then a guy arrived called Paul Lamont, and he bought the restaurant and wanted to turn it into a wine bar with the club downstairs. And he said, you guys just carry on doing what you're doing, but it's going to be a wine bar with a club downstairs. So we said, okay. It mutated very quickly from a wine bar into a full-on club. And then we took over another property, and then we couldn't get downstairs, so we had to take over the top 2 floors at the bottom of the street. So basically it went from being a function room above restaurant with a small club to being a 1,400 capacity 4-room venue.
So right to the bottom,
right to the bottom of this street. So the whole building, and to the point where we were all, Paul as an owner really got his hands dirty. So to the point where when Utah Saints took off, I was promoting 4 nights a week. Mondays, which we call Armageddon, which were 10p a pint. Tuesdays, I was overseeing, it was an indie night. Thursdays was the Mile High disco club, disco night. And Fridays was called Bliss, which is where Tim started DJing.
I ended up coming over and DJing, so it'd been 1991 probably. We did a night called Bliss, which was just full on rave. And there's queues right down the street, and it was awesome.
Yeah, so on a Thursday, when we were going back to clubs opening at 11 and finishing at 2, 11 o'clock on a Thursday, starting on a Thursday, and it became Mondays, Tuesdays. Wednesdays was a legendary guy called Jip Damoni. He used to promote jazz. So you had people like, people would fly in and they'd do Ronnie Scott's in London, and then they'd do here, and then they did international acts. So he had I saw Bobby Bird playing here, which was an amazing thing. Colleen Anderson played here, Giles Peterson used to DJ here. You know, it's like a big thing for jazz as well.
And also I remember coming, even before I met Jazz, I remember coming here and just with some of my friends, and we go in the basement, and there was a night called Downbeat, which was
George from Nightmares.
George from Nightmares, and Kevin, who used to be in Nightmares on Wax, and Nightmares on Wax are a lot known for a lot more chill out music now, and with their albums Focus, but when they first started, it was more on the Leeds and Sheffield type, Warp Records, electronica, so it was house music, things like 808 State, Pacific State, and they had their early tracks like Dexterous and Let It Roll, and it all started in this basement.
So then we were working on Dave, who was working on down there. We were going, look, you need to move up here, and he moved up here, and he took over Saturday nights with Back to Basics. Friday nights, Soak and Chaos took over. So at one point, Sasha, the DJ, was DJing in the basement, and the basement held about 150 people. So it was really early career for him, for Sasha. And then we had everyone play here.
Did you have any idea at this point how, even though this is blowing up here, how big you guys were going to be, or the other artists?
No, so 91...
I think Daft Punk played in here,
Yeah, Daft Punk played here. So
Basement Jacks?
Yeah, Basement Jacks played here. Pete Tong played here. Oakenfold, Carl Cox has played here. Everyone's played in this building.
Capacity?
Well, the main room should have held about 500. Okay. But the rest of the club was 1,400 in total. Yeah. So people pay to come in. So I can remember, there's probably, I probably shouldn't commit this to video, but basically, so there's a big brewery loan, which Paul took out to keep over to do out the club, yeah. So we were rammed Friday and Saturday. The reason a lot of this isn't documented, by the way, is that this place was rammed, and it still was right up to about 93, 94 when we left. So we'd get requests for interviews from big newspapers or TV stations. We'd all promoters would turn those interviews down because we were too busy already. We didn't need extra publicity. So that's why it's not documented anywhere. Manchester, London, they all went, come and interview us. Yeah, none of us needed the extra publicity. We were full.
Later on, as the venue's dying, they're like, "Oh, we should have done it."
No, we weren't. I never regret that, other than the way history's been written afterwards. Yeah. Because it wasn't I would like to have documented something about Leeds.
Nice to have a video camera and a reporter at just one night.
Yeah.
You should also mention as well that at the bottom of the street above there was a back room, and in that called Arcadia. So there was a night that started in there called Kit Kat Club. And this sort of ties in with where we're going later on, but the Kit Kat Club evolved into a big night called Vague, which is later at the Warehouse. But it started it, and it was kind of like.
And then it became Speed Queen.
It became Speed Queen. So.
That was one of the first kind of really inclusive nights that pushed inclusivity. Yeah. And it was just like, so everybody was free to do whatever they wanted. Kind of thing. To a degree, rave had those elements in it, but Speed Queen really took them and turbocharged it. And made everything, so it was really about diversity for their audience. And then they moved to the warehouse, which will take. We weren't selling much beer, and you were meant to sell a lot of beer to keep the interest rate down on your loan. And we were getting people. Ravers don't really drink at the time, didn't really drink. So we used to have to, sometimes we'd have to bring kegs of beer out here, and I'm ashamed to admit this, but put them down the drain because rather than admit to the brewery we weren't selling enough beer. Happened in this building.
Just doing anything. There's something wrong about it.
There was something wrong about it, but at the same time, because but it's hard to shift. It was hard to sell beer, and we needed to keep the turnover going. This street I used to feel like this was our street.
It used to be a drive down the street as well, as you can see. But now the pavement, it's
cars could come down.
Cars come down here. Yeah. So it was chaos because cars would be using it as a cut through, and then ravers coming out, and it was quite good idea to set this off. I should have probably done that in the 90s.
When I left, it had mutated big time into. I left it, like I say, in '94, and by that point, it had unfortunately Paul had died. The older guy who was the driving force behind a lot of the building.
So we're not allowed to film in here. So,
okay.
But thank you.
Yeah, so it's now twice the size it used to be. Because it goes right way through there. So that's now twice the size it used to be. Part of the reason it was called a gallery was because it had this gallery in the middle. And at one point we had Dave Beer agreed to dress as the Pope. We came home for a homecoming gig, and we did it, and the roof was like an A shape. Dave was up for most things, and he agreed to dress up as like a cardinal, actually. It was as a cardinal. And there used to be a climbing shop on the corner of the road up here, and the guy there was a raver, and he was into, he lent us all his climbing gear. Okay. So the idea was that the Utah Saints were coming home for our homecoming gig, and then during the start of it, Dave would jump off the gallery as if he was jumping onto the people on the floor below, but actually he was supported by all his climbing gear. So he'd swing out above everybody. And so gets to the gig, it's pretty full on, there's a load of smoke and lights. Dave's dressed as a cardinal with all the climbing gear on. He gets on the edge of the balcony, which was like a safety rail thing. He stands there, and everybody's like, you can't possibly be going to jump. He jumps. He's suspended by this big climbing gear. Yeah. Thing was, none of us had worked out how to get him back. So he was in the middle of his A thing, stuck. It looked really glamorous at the beginning, but then someone had to come out with a mop and literally a mop and push him and pull him into the side.
Yeah, this parking lot used to be full. I used to do my birthday parties.
Oh, this is a big building. So what was this place?
Man, this place has been around since at least 1992. I did something over here the first time when it was a Palladium about 8-ball MJG, and nobody knew them, but it became the Bounce in the 2000s, early 2000s.
They didn't change the name much. It's still the B something.
It's still the bank. I mean, that's not hard to decipher, right?
The bank. But check it out, man.
It's an event. It's an event place, and they have a restaurant. Let me see. They might not be open either.
Oh, hello.
Hey, how you doing, darling? DJ Jelly, how's everything? I want to just.
DJ Jelly.
Hey, baby girl.
Is you here for this party tonight?
Not tonight, but I gotta do something up here. I gotta do something later. You know, go let them know. Jermaine did a birthday party here. Nelly came and Tip, T.I. Yeah. CeeLo was here as well. I want to catch y'all, many of y'all cleaning. Yeah, this it'll turn to a restaurant. Definitely on another level, yeah. Hey, how you doing? All right.
So they've literally taken the bank and made a frickin' wow. That is an entrance, all right. But in terms of like the nightclub layout, how different in terms of like where things would be?
Really, I mean, back there was like VIP sections back in the day when you walked in. Not here, but where we just came from, where the restaurant is now. They have a restaurant lounge as soon as you walk in. But that was like a VIP section.
Huge
club. I mean, it's more to each side. Yeah, right. And so this when all the crunk stuff was going on with all the Lil Johns, all the Pastor Troys, no more playing GA. Like this was when the whole crunk movement, which really had people turned up, across the world. I used to do all my birthday parties here. I would throw the jelly birthday parties. One time I had like Gangsta Boo and Pastor Troy, and I had Outkast close out the show. This is like when they first started kicking off the double album.
That's amazing.
Love Below. And they were breaking their artists at the time, and they came and performed for me. So that was a blessing. Yeah, this is all stage. Where that is, it was a stage all the way across.
When Outkast performed, do they DJ and then the MCs, or like?
Yeah, they came in and pulled up on their tour bus, and the tour bus was in the back, a huge tour bus. And they got off and came in and rocked for 15 minutes for my birthday, because it was just like, hey.
And in just terms of the vibe of this club, happy music. I mean, like
it was no happy music.
I mean,
it was all
happy times.
It was happy times.
Was it like fights outside, or was it?
Yeah,
not?
it was.
Did you get rough?
What's up, bro? Inside and outside. It was some real head busting going on at that time.
Yeah.
Trillville was scrappy. All that was popping real. So all the turned up hype music, angry music was happening. And their security was on it too, as well. Their security was making sure people get up out that door real quick.
Now behind us is a very tall, well, it's only 4-5 stories, but it did house an amazing place that I went to a lot. And Grant, did you play?
Yeah, I did a number of nights up there. Most of them were the early Our House nights.
Yeah.
And some other events. Adam Bennett's early High Life events are up there as well. Friend of mine, Parry, did his book launch up here for Plenty More Fish in the CBD. That was fun.
Right. But this place was called Coast.
It was called Coast Bar, yeah. And you'd access around the corner. There was an elevator. Yeah, some great parties. Had multiple rooms. We can give that a go. Oh, yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Multiple rooms. The black room at the back with that balcony that everyone wondered if they could jump up and make it to the water.
Yeah. Yeah. The terrible thought. The dance floor itself.
And the main room was bouncy. Had a bit of give.
And no one really knew what the limit was. But everyone would talk about it. And on a really busy night, you'd be able to see the floor flexing.
Yeah, and the fish, you can see the fish tanks. The fish are often often moving around.
Okay. Probably not going to work, but we'll try. We'll go hit a buttons and say hi to a receptionist at like a real estate or something.
Yeah, Coast Bar, incredible venue, and the licensing meant you can go to a sunrise, and being up there on the other balcony and seeing the sunrise was one of those really amazing moments, playing to that crowd. Seriously.
Where did it go? What happened? Like, I guess it's just business. Yeah. So this essentially is now the New Zealand Foreign Affairs.
Is that here or is it upstairs?
Coast Bar?
Yeah.
That's long gone.
Yeah. We're doing a tour of sort of nightclubs of New Zealand that have gone.
Yeah.
And
now, was it the 5th floor? Was it the 6th floor?
No, you need to go to the 8th floor.
It was the 8th. Yeah. Let us hit 8, so we'll give it a try.
Yeah.
We'll give it a try. Here we are. This is the 8th floor.
You walk in here, and there was a private room here.
Yeah.
And you'd walk in that way to the main room. And you could also go that way to. There was also a private room, and you could access through to the black bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4 different rooms. Yeah. Should we have a look at the bathrooms? Okay, if we use your bathroom.
Yeah.
Grant's an old DJ, and we're making a little tour of old bars of New Zealand. And this used to be Coast Bar, which is a huge nightclub. So we're doing like a vlog about it.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Look at that. So I don't even know what is this place. Construction company. Awesome.
So this was a private room.
This was the VIP.
This was a private room that didn't always open, and out there was the black bar.
You had a glimpse of the view just over there.
I remember the bathrooms being here, and there were some steps up to the black bar.
The original bathrooms. These look remodeled.
They do. Although, the layout's pretty similar.
There's probably a lot of things being consumed through orifices in there.
If you poke the camera in there, that's the main room, and there's the balcony. You see the balcony up through those dark curtains.
This is where the dance floor was. Okay.
Yeah, and this is now open plan. So there's the black bar over here.
The fish tank was over there. Look at the view. The whole thing was a nightclub. This wouldn't happen anymore.
And check that balcony all the way around.
Amazing.
Yeah. All right, so
So we're on what, 12th Street?
12th Avenue.
12th Avenue.
We're heading towards 27th, heading downtown, and what used to be the Tunnel Nightclub, and it looks like you can look over the scaffolding here and get some crazy shots of what's going on inside.
Oh wow, you can see the door, the archway.
It looks pretty cool. Just to let everybody know, we're about 4 feet under the camera.
So this used to be a railway yard?
Yes, it was a railway yard, and when it was a tunnel, there were 2 tunnels still open at the other end where the trains used to come into.
Yeah.
And the tracks were there and everything. So this wasn't the entrance in.
Oh, okay.
This must have been closed. The entrance was on 27th Street.
Oh, right. Let's go.
But the thing about the tunnel, interesting, it was a very long-lived nightclub. I think it opened in 86, maybe 87.
Yeah.
So the era I used to come here in that time, it was house music. It was all house music. You know, there was some electronic. Disco was pretty much gone. And if you talk to people about the tunnel these days, I have a lot of friends who are like 10 years younger than me, and they experienced a different tunnel because the mid-90s, it was a mix of house music and rap music, hip hop.
Cool.
So when people talk about the tunnel, you have to ask them, what era did you go in? Because while it was the same building, it was totally different inside. So I was part of the original, I guess, the OG crowd that went to the tunnel.
So that was like house music. So that was like
all house.
That was a carry on from what 54 had set up. A fun, kind of like anything goes a little bit, like
exactly
what you want.
It was a very chill crowd. Anyone was welcome to come in. It was more open than like a Studio 54, but everyone was here. It was a great party time. And again, the music was just classic house music. At the time, it wasn't classic, but it was what you know was classic music now, classic house. So now they're rebuilding this place. And we got some great footage. That was really fantastic. The doorway for the entrance was somewhere over here.
Let's see if we're gonna go find that right now. Eh?
So I want to go stand over there. Oh, look through the window. I think it's where those guys are.
So we can see like a door there, and it was just a square door, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And and it was just the first 1 or 2 floors. Of what's going on top, I have no idea what it was. It was probably warehouse or office buildings. But this was the tunnel. And look at the floor. We got original New York City cobblestones that are probably 200 years old.
Yeah. Would you go here early or?
No, we never went anywhere early.
Yeah.
So you didn't get in the shower till 10:30. And we lived in Brooklyn. So it was 45 minutes to an hour ride and you had to find a spot. So usually you leave, you get here around 12:30. Have a good time getting in there. Iconic place. Tunnel Nightclub. So all my 80s tunnel folks, shout out. And you 90s folks too. Yeah, it was a great place, man. I was done by then.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, so this definitely would be where the club was. It was... No, Funhouse. You're on the dance floor right now, pretty much.
They actually left these pillars.
Yeah, this is, again, like, you know, these walls were all put up here, but basically you walk in here and it would go, but yeah, we're standing within the, you know, Funhouse. This is it, you know.
It's probably the original floor.
Yeah, the dance floor was right where I'm standing right now, and it would go, you know, out that way, but this was Saturday night in New York for the borough kids, for Bronx, Staten Island, you know, Queens. They called it Bridge and Tunnel. That's where the Bridge and Tunnel name came from. People that would come over the bridge, come through a tunnel to come to the club on Saturday night. And you know, I saw Madonna there, I saw Beastie Boys there, I saw Run DMC there when they recorded Here We Go. So like, I'm 16 years old, and you know, to see them doing Here We Go, they didn't even know they were gonna put that on vinyl. And then 2 months later, yo, Here We Go, and I'm like, yo, I was there, you know what I mean? And it was, you know, hip hop was a big deal because it's New York, but like, the dance music kind of was its distant cousin, you know?
Yeah. Do you know Madonna did her first performance either here?
Danceteria, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But she
did show up here, right?
Madonna came out October 1982. I remember this because I used to write down all the tracks so the record pool would give out, and then her record Everybody came out in October 82. So like by 83, she already was in Pop Star with Holiday, and Jelly Bean produced that. And
wow.
that's probably her biggest record of all time, you know, in the history of pop music.
Well, he would have known what rock's a dance floor.
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
listen
yeah.
to the beat in that song, and it's great, man. It just gets you going straight away, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was specific tracks like Jimmy Castor's Just Begun the Breakdance stuff, and people would go there just to hear those tracks, James Brown. And it really was, it's like, it was a scene within a scene, you know? When you say Chicago house, we had Funhouse, but it was electro, but it was that street music, hip hop, you know? They were a little bit more tied together at that point, but yeah, those were great times. I mean, coming up, you know. And that's it. This is, you know, you're in, we're in. I'm feeling kind of...
So the DJ desk was
would
the
be
booth for...
over this way. He had 3 Techniques turntables and a rotary mixer and a reel-to-reel. The reel-to-reel was kind of a big deal back in those days because you'd make a show reel and you'd play like a 15-minute edit or something. And no, but like you would have to spool tape like a reel-to-reel. You'd have to put the tape on and spool it and... But, you know, you do your edits on that because we didn't have computers back then that did that stuff, so.
Hey,
this is really,
thanks a lot,
very
man.
nice space. Thank you.
So it's quite cool that they've actually kept the building.
Just those walls were just, you know, prefab, but everything else is... And then, too, the Funhouse was definitely the first actual club I went to. The first time I went there, I was really young, but I had a mentor, Tony Torres, who was a really big DJ. He was 5 years older than me, and he would get me in. I wouldn't be able to do it on my own, but like, I was so intimidated though, because I was so young and everybody was like, it was like, just a different time and place in the culture, really.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you guys recognize this building, you probably won't. Used to be King's Arms, classic live venue in New Zealand. Okay, the actual original building was built in 1880, can you believe it? And it was a little corner pub, and there wasn't a motorway over here. This was all just suburbia, and yeah, it was a pub. This was where the entrance was, and it was for the working class, you know. So all the men would come in here after their work. Through the years, the motorway came in, and the whole suburbia. Well, this little place was hard to find now, so they had little maps of like, here's how to get to the King's Arms and stuff. It was always that name, and there was a lady called Maureen who basically ran the pub for a very long time, and she lived to the glorious age of 82, I think it was, and very well loved. But yeah, she knew how to run the pub, and there was a guy here who would just play in the corner with a cowboy hat, Ed, I think his name was, and he was just sort of background music, I guess. But it wasn't until Maureen's daughter decided, because she was in a little band, that she would play outside in the beer garden, and it went off. Yeah, wow. So that just rolled on from there. They started bringing bands in, and yeah, it became the go-to live venue, especially after. Well, this is after the Glue Pot finished. We needed a new venue, so people came to the King's Arms, and there's a big history of international bands and local acts playing here.
It was different from a Glue Pot in the fact that it was a bit smaller, so you didn't have to, because Glue Pot. I think that it was about 800 people or something like that, you know?
600.
Oh, 600,
and
right.
one gig, we're all going to do this.
But this was like more like you could have 150 people here.
And thumping.
It'd be sweet, so it meant that it was a great venue for up-and-coming bands to play, but also big enough if it was banging, so it was a good... It was a good starter, and also internationals could play it too. It had the thing is the staff were really cool. The staff were always clued up on music, so it had that vibe to it, It was a rock and roll venue, it wasn't, it wasn't a she bar that, begrudgingly put bands. It was all about the music. I mean, the posters, it was just band posters everywhere. You knew you were somewhere that had that spirit of rock and roll, which is great.
Let's get on site.
Yeah, cool.
So in 2016, the government, or the council was like, this is going to be more of a housing area, and it changed some of the rules where they were allowed to build 6 stories up. So big offers came in for this area, and with the changing music scene, they eventually sold it, but they built this, which is, this is the space though, where King's Arms was.
So we were the stage
probably would have been over behind this wall, which we can go just have a little look around.
How you going? We're just doing a whole thing on the King's Arms.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, cool. So yeah. But you know where the stage would have been?
That was the garden bar out there.
Oh, that was the garden bar.
The terrace. The bar was over there, wasn't it? And so the stage was at this end.
Ah, yeah.
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 Amazing.
Yeah, so the stage would have been somewhere around, so I would have been, I played one of them later gigs before that kind of sound, just sitting on a stool with two acoustic guitars, and it was packed, and it was like, you'd look down there and like smiling faces and just drunk people and having a good old sing-along. But and it was grimy. Yeah, like the sort of place, when you look, your feet stick to the floor, like.
I mean, when the music's playing loud, you can't hear it, but you go in there in the daytime or the sound check, that's when you're like, okay.
Yeah, totally.
And there's flies hanging around and stuff.
That's so cool, man. Awesome. The first EP.
It is the first one. Nice to meet you, John. It's Kevin.
Oh, g'day, Kevin.
How's it going?
I'll sign that for you,
That'd be fucking awesome.
That's so great. Now, these are really hard to
I know,
find,
I think there's only 1,000 of them pressed.
That's so cool, man. Because I got told if you like people on Discogs are like selling them for hundreds and hundreds.
I'm not going to get rid of it.
You don't. Yeah.
I've got a funny story though, because when I first played it, it's actually a 45, a full size 45.
Yeah, it is.
But I played it on the 33 speed.
Well,
so it was all down tuned and chunky.
But I've been assured by the local sort of death crew that that's the preferable way to listen to that EP.
Yeah, so good.
So, some other acts had played here, and it was one great story about a New Zealand promoter that saw an international act that he really liked, and he brought them over to New Zealand for about 3 or 4 gigs. And that was actually White Stripes. Wow. And they played at the King's Arms. A year later, they played at the Big Day Out. Totally. And they'd blown up. Yeah, totally. So one of the early international gigs was right here, would have been up on the stage right here.
We toured with them on that Big Day Out around Australia.
Oh, wow.
And for some reason, Meg thought I was the guy to show her around. So we'd just go shopping in every Australian city and for hair products and food, and I don't know, we just got on really well, and but he didn't like it.
He didn't like it?
No, he didn't like it because I was like this heavy metal guy. I'm not indie at all. So, but me and Meg were like thick as thieves. It was great.
Was there anything you appreciate about him, like his playing style?
He's an amazing guitar player. He's cool. But and the way he was really, he wasn't into me at all, and he would bar me, and she was just totally chill. And so I always go, oh well, you don't even know me, dude. So I tend to list like, I can't listen to music after that,
Let's tiptoe around the edge here. Yeah. So, one night someone tried to jump the fence and they had barbed wire around here. And he got majorly cut up. And people used to fall asleep out here, wake up the next day in the garden bar, and then they were locked in here. They used to also have a TAB mixed in, because there was 2 parts of the bar. They had the old bar down over here, and that's where all the old fellas would, and then you come into this other bar and there's a big rock band playing, but somehow they made it work. So the place did eventually get sold, and then but they did have a big final night, and I think the guy who played it out was the original guy with the cowboy hat.
Oh, that's so cool.
He was the last person to play.
Arena.
This is where Arena used to be. It was like the biggest club Wellington's ever seen.
Was this whole building?
This whole building, yeah, the whole thing.
Building.
And it went back quite a way. So Arena, when it first opened, Ray Johns brought, I think he was a DJ from Miami over to start it.
Oh, wow.
And
he's a long way from home.
Yeah.
Doing it big back in the day.
Yeah. But he was playing stuff that no one really had access to or knew. Then on the door he had one of the old wrestlers, Don the Rock.
Yeah, Don the Rock, Don Morocco.
Don Morocco?
It was WWF back in the day.
Because, from America?
Yeah.
From America.
Because we had the Bushwhackers, right?
Yeah.
Bushwhackers. Ray was good friends with all those guys.
Yeah, Don Morocco was around the days of Jimmy Snuka and all those guys, the Ultimate Warrior and all those guys. You're watching WWF back in the day, and then you turn up to the club and there's the dudes at the door,
Yeah. So look at the grand entrance here. That's amazing.
Now, what's the gimmick this thing had? It had something here outside.
Oh yeah, it had searchlights.
Okay,
so playing searchlights. So if you're over at the airport, you could see the searchlights, and you knew the club was open. It was that.
Where were they?
powerful.
Was it on the roof? Or was it out here?
Out on the not on the road, but just off the road.
I mean, this club, they had a lot of glass too, eh? They had a lot of, you know, when back in the day when the brick, you know, the brick glass at Miami Vice look was in, you know. This was the club. You come here and it was just decked out, you know.
Would people dress up for this?
Oh yeah, it was hard to get here. A lot of VIP. This probably one of the first proper VIP clubs that they had. You know, a lot of the Greek boys used to hang out here. That was their club.
They had a big fish tank that divided the club, and then on the other side you went up ramps, and the dance floor was sunken, and there's booths right around it.
So this is probably in New Zealand. Like we had stuff up in Auckland, but I don't think we have had something this big and grandeur that. At that time period?
Yeah, no, it was really high end. Everything was done.
It was high end, you know. All the wellies, celebs back in the day came here. I don't know who they were. The guy, probably the lady from the shampoo commercial.
Or the TV series Gloss.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But you know, that's what that's the way they did it, you know. They were doing it big.
Yeah.
And they had all the who's of who, and it was like I said, it was probably the first proper VIP of that kind of, you know, magnitude.
Yeah, so you mentioned Robbie Stevens. So after the Miami DJ, he became the resident, and he didn't stay that long, and then his younger brother Robbie became the resident.
My experience here, I came here one time with my mates. We weren't even going in. We were walking past, and the bouncer goes, "Sorry, private party." I was like,
"I'm not trying to go in."
I'm not trying. Oh, okay, thank you. Thanks for letting me
Good
know.
on you.
No, but they were
Hope
running.
it goes well.
They were running a tight ship. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Ray Johns was like the OG of like all the club owners back in those days. So he owned the other place I talked about, Spats, that was down by where the police station is now.
And you had that club you guys used to play in across the road from...
Rain Bar, yeah.
Yeah, Rain Bar.
Well, Big Easy.
You know, that guy was great. You know, he's the godfather probably of the clubbing scene. You know, I didn't really know the dude, but you know, his name was ringing in the streets, you know?
Yeah. Okay, we're not quite at the city yet, but we're over halfway.
Getting there.
And we've just stumbled across what is Dominion Road.
Yeah, this is the top end of Dominion Road. It turns into Dominion Road extension up there. But yeah, this is Mount Roskill. A part of my evolution too was I moved from Papakura to Onehunga, and Onehunga to Mount Roskill too. So as these neighbourhoods become more familiar to me as I got a bit older. But this spot here is pretty famous. This early education centre here, it used to be United Video.
Yes.
Back in the day. Met lots of cool friends through this particular place. But anyway, upstairs at this place is Manhatten.
Hi there. Are you guys got access to the Manhatten venue? Oh, okay.
I'm here.
We're doing a historic tour of old nightclub venues in Auckland.
Yeah.
And this used to be a nightclub.
Front booth area, yeah. Yeah, go on.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. Wow, okay. So this was the front door?
I don't remember, man. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. This is it. This is the Manhatten Club. I wonder if these are the original tables.
I don't think so. The tables from memory were smaller.
Okay. Now,
plus I thought it was tiered.
Okay.
I think it had like I can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember. Man, it's crazy being in this room.
But you did go here a few times, so okay. This nightclub had a novelty to it. What was that?
This club was special. And, you know, it's almost gotten to urban myth level where each of the tables had a phone on it. So if you wanted to, not like what we would do is me and my friends would be idiots and just ring each other and just talk shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But the real method, the real reason for it more than anything was to, you know, if you didn't have any game, which most of us didn't, it just was an instant like, you know, wow, I could just pick up you know, like when people say, oh, you know, you got no business talking to that girl.
Yeah.
This was the ultimate, like it's like a shield. So you would just literally pick up the phone and go, yo, what up? And they'll be looking around like, what?
So you could choose a table, see someone you like over there, pick up the phone, talk to them. Yeah. And with multiple phones on all the tables, that was a great way to connect, right? I was looking at some forums and there were some people that were like, oh yeah, my parents met at this nightclub. Wow. So this was like the early Tinder, right? in one room.
Yeah, but you just cross the other side of the room, yeah. Which is crazy.
Do you remember the kind of music they might have played here?
Kind of didn't matter.
Yeah.
It wasn't really about the music yet.
Yes.
For us.
No, right. Yeah.
The music kind of.
It's more about the scene.
It was more about the scene, and it was like what they call an open format now. Is they basically play anything.
Yep.
So at the Forge they're playing rock and roll, pop, you know, dance music. Well, what was dance music? Getting into the city clubs was hard. You couldn't just it's very competitive now, but back then you had to figure out how to get through the door. Like as you moved away into town, this is like a little bit of a testing ground to see. It wasn't so hard to get in here.
Well, little cool facts. So there probably would have been a stage, right, somewhere?
I think it was against the wall, maybe. I can't remember.
It's name dropping. Billy T. James performed here. Not sure whether it was a comedy or he was singing, because he did sing, right? Mention in the comments if you were here and witnessed that. And another character that's been here is Russ LaRock, or commonly known as Russell Crowe. Yes, the actor.
What was the band? What was that?
His band was the Roman Addicts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit more about him later, but he did play one of his first gigs here. It may have actually been his first gig, right here in the Manhatten, and it still stands here today with its high ceiling, tables, and it's more like a function venue now. So
it's tough to envision it too because it's so different now. Like this venue's clearly changed many times. Those are not the tables, I'm sure of it. But can you imagine being in a nightclub and just having phones on all the tables? It's so cool.
I wonder if someone could bring it back, see if make it work these days. I mean, you'd have to leave your phone at the door, You
know what? Some people wouldn't know how to use a phone with a dial on it, I don't think.
So where we're walking up to now, just at the top of the street is a place, and we can walk inside it as well. It's called the Corn Exchange. And it's a kind of like, as you'll see, it's a big building and it's got lots of little independent outlets, but it's this nice big round building here. But they used to have,
city is beautiful, though.
They used to have big events in here.
Look at that.
So we'll have a little walk in.
Yeah, erected AD 1862.
A guy called Tony Hannon used to do nights, Chaos and Soak in here.
Yeah, but also
Steve, yeah.
Used to do a night called Columbia in here, and he went on to Steve Hume, also important part of music history because he went on to run Pasha in Ibiza. Oh, wow. So he started off doing events in here.
Yeah, but I remember coming in here and seeing.
It doesn't look like a venue when you come in here, does it?
This is huge, but I mean, where was the venue? You're not talking about the whole thing, are you?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, so they put the DJ would be up there, and then. So I remember coming in here and seeing Paul Oakenfold playing here.
Oh my God!
He'd have been he'd have been big at that point. Yeah.
They've got maybe a couple of thousand people in here.
People like Sasha were playing here, and Graham Park, and Mike Pickering, and just like.
Didn't sound amazing because of the roof, so it used to echo a lot. But the vibe.
It's like a football shape, like not a round football, but a rugby ball. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But it's amazing because you just have people dancing on every balcony, and the place will be just rammed full of people.
Pressure to fill it up.
Yeah.
Well, it was a height of the club thing, so you could put a night on a Wednesday night in Leeds.
But you got to remember the rave time. It was actually, it was probably less tricky to promote then because it was the beginning of everything. So, a beginning of a lot of the rave culture. So you could promote things. You had to do everything manually with flyers.
It's pre-internet, so there's no like Facebook groups or everything was flyer and poster.
Yeah. But if you built it, people would come. So they knew Steve would put a lot of effort into dressing this venue, and it would.
So the shops would close at like 5:30, and then they come in and put a sound system in, and it'd open again at like 9ish.
Wow. And I wonder what it originally was.
It was a corn exchange. I think they used to trade corn in here, literally, like right back in the day.
It's not technically a lost club because it never was a club. It was
This is a lost temporary venue.
Yeah. I think they do roller discos in here as well. I think they still do those.
Wait, we're gonna.
Look at that. Oh, music to my ears. Look,
cool.
It's open. Shall we go inside, bro?
Let's have a look.
Let's have a little look.
Get your torch on.
There's someone.
Oh, Mr. 48 doesn't come.
How are you, brother? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Not bad, not
Look at
bad,
that.
eh?
Massive.
I had to put that up for you. I had to put that up
That's
for
so
you.
good.
Liz.
So good, bro.
Mr. 48's massive. That's it.
All right, let's go have a look in. It's known now as the studio.
Yes.
But previously.
Whoa. Used to be, don't tell mamas.
Yeah.
I need to clean my glasses because they're a little bit fogged up because I'm so excited about this venue because I've got some crazy nights here from the Brain 1, Brain 2, Brain 3 and then I had a little break from the Brain 4.
Now, if you guys don't know, Brain was one of the first, it was a great rave that embraced electronic dance music, but we didn't call it back then. We called it techno, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely, it was 4 on the floor and breakbeats all just getting mashed up together. I just love coming into this foyer.
So Sample G was the brainchild of
so basically,
the Brain, wasn't he?
When you came in here back in the day, you actually just came straight through here. There was no bar here. In fact, there was a bar on that side, but there wasn't a bar here. And that was a solid wall through there. And you basically walked down that far wall, down that side of the club like that. So, and that bar wasn't there. So that's how much it's changed for me. God, it's been a while since I've been in here as a DJ. But I plan on changing that in the near future.
Okay, let's go back to one of the Brain, right? Yep. You DJ'd on the first Brain?
The first, the second, the third, and then missed the fourth, and then back for the fifth at the town hall.
Yep. And how was the scene back then? Was it like people just was it new for them?
Yeah, it was really well embraced because we just had absolutely huge nights. So I think there was 1,000+ people through these gigs, in those first 3. And of course the town hall one was enormous as well. And it certainly had its drawbacks as well because I know that they had dancing podiums that wore holes into the wooden floor of the town hall, and they got really upset about it and stuff like that. Yeah, this is definitely one of the venues where I remember in the late 80s, over that 1990 period, they actually used to do 1 hour of techno. So amongst all your R&B and hip hop and everything like that, well, they used to break off in the early hours of the morning and do this 1 hour of electronic music like that. So I used to
niche back then.
Yeah, and I used to work at Club Parnell, and I'd actually get out of work there, and then I'd rock up to Don't Tell Mamas or DTMs, and I'd come here and just shake my booty to these mean tunes. It was normally like Sam Hill or maybe it was Grant Sample G, like doing these little cameo sets of this techno, and man, we used to just love it, because you're hearing it over a big sound system.
Yeah, and it's a really big space. It would have been quite hard to fill, right? I mean, what was the layout like back then? Because there actually was a different staircase.
Yeah, well, see, all this bar here, it wasn't here. And I remember it had the upstairs, but this here was raised, and you just walk on a platform down here to then, there would be a railing down here and stuff, and then it would just open out onto the dance floor here. Now, when we used to DJ here was different. I remember DJing up there where the lighting guy was. So I remember that being a place where you used to DJ. I remember Lisa Lashes and stuff like that played up there. This is going into, Remix Magazine's gigs, I think. I'm pretty sure it was Tim Finn that brought Lisa Lashes out, or I could be wrong. But anyway, it was all a bit of a blur. But I remember the DJ box at one point was right here.
That's such a random place.
It was right here. You actually had to literally climb a ladder up into the DJ box here. This is the Brain 2, and it was a water rave. So you had people with actually water guns and buckets of water throwing around and all this stuff, and you're standing there on all this equipment with water splashing everywhere. And not knowing that you could actually just it could have been over in a flash. And
that was an era for the kind of, I mean, I don't want to say gimmicks, but like we had Cold Power, which was another one my brother did, which was foam, the foam party.
Was that the one of the
Crypt?
Oh, see,
on Simon Street.
See, I never played that one, but I did play one that was at in the basketball courts at Auckland University.
Yes, that was called. My brother did put it on.
Rain.
Yeah, that was the second one. But
okay.
But yeah, so.
Oh, I missed the Crypt.
Now this was originally DTMs, and then how long did DTMs go for, and what was its sort of life cycle?
Oh
like?
man, I mean, look.
It eventually went to the staircase, right?
It must have been about 90, like late 90s.
Oh, okay, so quite a while, yeah.
Well, it's just such a mad venue. These stairs weren't here, so if you wanted to get up there, you had to go around the long way. So I reckon we should go around the long way, because you've got to take in this staircase up here. Staircase, there we go. Pardon the pun. So remember, solid wall through here. You could never walk down through there. Yeah. This was just its own little area.
I mean, the layout now as the studio is fantastic.
Look, they've had Naughty by Nature, and there's a lot of gigs on there that they've had, Delta Heavy, Camo and Crooked. Man, they've certainly. You heard of the Lagered here?
Yeah, no, I went to
See, there's a great little array of gigs there. Yeah. There's Concord Dawn at studio. Wow, that's dope. Album release. See, this must have been when I was having my little break. I was off working my 9 to 5. So here we go. This staircase has always been here. Oh, I love that design. That's cool. Yes. And I don't think there was even a bar here. You know what, I'm going to have to sneak a Red Bull. Oh no. He's got these ones locked up here.
So talking about DTMs, what was this area?
Well, this was just another layer to the club. I mean, like this here didn't necessarily have its own thing going on, but I remember it could be closed off more than what this is, because this has obviously got great big doors here that you can close off. I remember DJing here, I think it was for Renaissance. It was like a big house gig. I think that Sasha might have been playing on it or something like that. And we actually had a drum and bass area up here. Wow. And I remember DJing right there on that level. And yeah, we just had D&B going up here, and then there was like house shenanigans going on over here.
What does it feel like for you being back in here like this?
Oh man, it's just like, it's a flood of memories, but I tell you what, they're all a bit hazy.
Yeah.
You know? But I'll never forget like the Brain 2, actually working with Jason Jones and myself, and we used to call ourselves the techno terrorists. This is before jungle or drum and bass or anything like that, and basically there were some guys here that didn't like electronica, and they thought it would be a good idea to start throwing empty short glasses into the crowd. And of course, my mate Jason, he caught one right in the head.
Oh wow!
So there we were. He had blood, claret, coming out of his forehead and everything. So off we were to A&E, and that was our night. Was actually being off our nut in A&E, which is always pretty sobering.
Yeah. So we've just come into kind of like the sound mixing room.
And lighting,
yeah,
and front of house, and basically, I remember like actually being at Lisa Lash's up here and stuff, and her just emptying my bag for me.
It's a great spot though. You can see the whole dance floor on the stage beautifully, and you're in your own little cozy spot here.
Old school freaking Sony's up here.
Yeah, a little camera there.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Look at that stack. Those stacks of speakers are awesome. Look at the size of the frame to hold them up.
Now, is that the green room up there?
Yeah, well, that's a VIP room. Now, I just am trying to work out the layout, how it's changed since then, because I remember sort of like going all the way to this back corner. Oh, okay, there's another room.
Yeah.
Right, so this is like a VIP room in here. Now, I'm pretty sure there used to be a set of stairs against the back wall that used to take you to the area above, which was up in there.
Man, this really is VIP.
This is VIP, mate. Honestly, I've got some cool photos and videos of just standing up here, and it's just a sea of heads. And you can't even see the DJ or where the music's coming from. And all you're doing is you're just taking in the vibes off the crowd,
Right.
It's something else, man.
And look at just like the coolest little hangout area. It's not little actually. It's quite big, and they've got their own bar. So was this always here? Was this what was? Do you remember?
I don't recall this being a VIP area back when it was Don't Tell Mamas. I just remember that area up there, which I haven't been up to for friggin' years.
Let's go have a look at it.
So let's go and have a little look up there. Woohoo! God, they've certainly made it look very era. Here we go. Yeah, this is the room I remember. This is like an after hours place. Or maybe, oh, you can still see out. It's like VIP.
Another
it's
level
like VIP.
of VIP.
It's a VIP.
A double VIP.
Yeah.
You can still see the dance floor down there.
How awesome is this?
And you've got your own little
You've got a
hangout
little dressing
area.
room in here.
So I mean, what the studio have done is amazing. They've really utilised this space for multiple tiers of VIP hierarchy.
Yeah.
But done very fashionably, with a lot of memorabilia on the walls. Okay, here we go. This looks like what they're using as a green room.
But
I
we
think.
were zombies.
Yeah, this is a green room.
Right.
For an act to hang out before they.
Aren't these
hit the
cool?
stage.
Road case fridges.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This said, thank you, sir. I heard about an orgy room in here. I don't know what was sitting on the couch while talking about sex.
I know. Like stains or no.
But I heard there was a kind of like a dodgy room.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, the owner was talking about
I know. Well, I just
Yeah.
thought I just thought he was just.
You're
having
a good
bit
liar. No, jokes.
No, I honestly thought that he was actually just having a bit of a giggle.
Really?
And so, like, I can arrange this for you if you like. But maybe there was. I mean, I've never been that way inclined. I mean, it's always nice to just meet people the normal way. But
If you guys know anything about the dodgy room that was in DTMs, tell us the story in the comments. Keep it kind of clean. You can use metaphors.
In celebration of Lost Nightclubs, let's have our own gig.
Lost Nightclubs, the gig. The first ever, starting right here in Auckland City. Featuring DJs and artists from the show and also special guest DJs. We're kicking it off at the Mothership, March 15th, a night to remember.
DJs include, from our very first episode,
Grant Marshall, Sam Hill, Greg Churchill, and 48 Sonic.
And what are they playing, you ask? Well, they're playing old school music. They're playing electronic music from the 90s, from the 80s. We're talking house, drum and bass, techno, breakbeat. We're going back in time. It's all happening right here at the Mothership, March 15th. Get your tickets now. Come join us and reminisce with us. It's going to be amazing.
Limited early bird tickets on sale now.